All right, so this video is about taking the bed off of a RZR-800. This particular one is RZR-4, 2011 Robbie Gordon, but I think they're all pretty similar, especially like 2011, 2014, they should be pretty similar. Sorry, I'm in this dark garage with no light, but I've got a headlight and I've got a light on the camera, so I'll do my best to show everything. I'm making this video because when I tried to find a video on how to get the bed off of this thing, every video sucked. There's a good video out there somewhere that I couldn't find, but every one that I found sucked. So I'm gonna make one and I'll try to make it suck a little less. Mine is missing a couple bolts here and there, but I'll still I'll do my best to show at least where they're supposed to be. So I've actually been trying to eliminate the shaky videos. Look at that, I got a camera mount there. But for this one, it's gonna have to be a shaky video because all the stuff, a lot of the bolts are like tucked up under the fenders and stuff. I'll go over every bolt one by one, but you can kind of see I've just got some they're all pre-loosened. Kind of just some bolts in there, but it all starts, of course, with taking this baby off. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other ones are tucked in back here. 5, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but 5, 6. So there you go. It's those 6 bolts to take the bumper off. And I'm pretty sure that's a factory bumper. So do the bottom ones on purpose. Otherwise, if you do the top ones first and then the bottom ones, it's trying to fall out the whole time. But if you do the bottom ones first and then the top ones, it's kind of rests on here. So they are a bolt and nut, you see, which is super annoying, especially for a factory part. Of course, I am just assuming that's a factory part, but all of them are a bolt and a nut. And my best guess is that 2 of these are not factory nuts because whoever had it before me had to put a whole bunch of washers on a way longer bolt. And then depending on how long you're gonna have your bed off, you'll probably want to mark these somehow. Put them in bags, marked bags or something. Or you can do what my favorite thing is, to just put them right back in the holes whenever applicable. And then I'll take these ones off here. And that just slides right out of there. And then the bolts that are through here are a plate like that. So you don't have to have a wrench and a socket for those ones. We're down here, we'll just do these ones. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. They're just T27 Torx. And of course, yeah, I've got mine pre-loosened. The bottom ones are longer than the top. Yes, yeah. I just kind of pre-loosened everything just so I could make the video a little bit quicker. And then there's some up on top here. In the bed. And there's a bunch of bolts up here. You'll see like here and here. All those, you can ignore all of them except these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're the only ones that need to come off on the top. They should have washers on them. But like on mine, the washers are like stuck in the hole, so the washers didn't come out. I've got extra washer on top of it though. There we go. Okay, 4 bolts there. But you can see those bolts pre-loosened here. 1, 2. Take those guys out. And these all have washers on them too. At least mine do. 3, 4 here. And depending on what you're doing, if you're not taking the whole interior out, there's some nice little pockets here that you can keep the bolts in. And then these come up if you've got the back windshield. I'm not sure if these are here without the windshield, but, or yeah, the back windshield. And you just pull that up, and then it's kind of a pain to pull them out. In fact, the last time I had this bed off, I just left them in there, so that's what I'll do this time too. Just pop, I don't know if you can see that, just pop that lever up, and that's loose. What I did, because I couldn't get them out of my back window, I just pulled them forward like that. You can kind of see that. It's just like a cam lock type thing. Okay. And I wish that was it, because that is technically the only part that's holding the bed onto the, like the frame of the vehicle. But then it's also attached to the fenders. You can technically pull the fender off with it. I couldn't tell you which is easier. It's going to be a pain either way. The issue with pulling the fender off with the bed is you kind of risk breaking it. And there are some parts, there's some parts over here that are kind of woven in that while you can do it, especially if you have help, but you'll have to be able to like pull up on the back and mess with the where it's woven in on both sides, keep in mind. So I prefer to take the fender off before I pull the bed, just so, and also if you pull the fender off with the bed and you accidentally put it down too fast or whatever, you could snap the fender. So I feel like it's a smarter idea to take the screws out of the bed that attach it to the fender. But if you really, really wanted to, you could, I'll show you those screws in a second, but you could pull out this bolt, and this bolt here, and this bolt here, which I'm pretty sure that's not a factory bolt that I've got there. But you could pull those bolts off and then the whole bed would come off. With the fender, I feel like it adds a degree of difficulty. If you've got help, that's probably the best way to do it. If you don't have help, because I never have help, then it's the way I'm going to do it's going to be the better way. So let's get under there. You've got this bolt that I don't have. I'll show you that on the other side though. Mine's missing. And then underneath, you've got these screws that you can see are already loose. 1, 2, 3. And you come back out and look at towards the back of the fender. You can see this one, 4. So once those 4 screws are taken out, sorry, and that one. And then on the other side, of course, same thing. There's the screw that is hard to show. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on top, you can actually, I've still got my bolt on top on this side. And that will completely remove the bed from the fenders. Cramped area, Getting the screws out is not that hard, but getting them back in is actually really hard. You got to try to, like, if you got a magnetic screwdriver, that'll help. You put it on the tip of the screwdriver and just kind of put it up in there. I'm not sure how much I'll possibly be able to show here, just because I need all the space in there for that head. Okay, you can kind of see here. All right, I'm doing my best. So you got to take all the screws out. Okay, and those are just a Phillips head screw. Looks like that, all of them, all three of those. And then this one I'm not gonna be able to show, but I'll pull this one from just kind of right there near the tail light. So those four are out. And then the one that's tucked up there, that one's a real big pain. You gotta try and get your fingers up there and hold an Allen wrench on top. Okay, I got the nut off. Obviously, it looks easy right now that I'm doing it because I've got them pre-loosened, but it's not when you have to hold the tools and stuff. Okay, and then do the other side. You can see the fender separate there. And that should, let me just double check make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I did miss something. So then you got to come in and do the tail lights. So now I can explain this. You can technically just unplug the tail light plug here, tail light plug, and then just take the tail lights off with the entire bed. But if you set the bed down too hard, which I did, then you'll end up snapping those suckers off. So it's a better idea you can also unplug it, but then take the sockets out of here. Just twist that out over here. And then twist that out on this side. That way you don't end up with broken tail lights like I did, because now I got to fix that. Other than that, should be completely loose here. Let me get you at a distance where you can see what I'm doing. So you've got to make sure this is pushed forward a little bit. As long as you're clear there, should be able to do it. There we go. Pull it right back. And you've got yourself a bed. Shaky camera time. All right, and then you can kind of get a look at those screws down there. So those are the 3 fender screws, and then there's the one that holds it to the bottom of the fender there. So one goes there, then 1, 2, 3. Of course, that one. Kind of, I don't know if we really need to do that, but you can kind of see the support brackets there. Those bolts just go straight through the support bracket. And then you can see this is why the bottom bolts need to be longer. If the camera focus, that's why the bottom bolts need to be longer. So kind of just a good look at everything. And you can kind of see those headlight sockets, tail light sockets a little better. Cool. Just kind of a standard, oh, that's probably not a good one to show. Both of them broke. but just kind of a standard twist in tail light. Just twist in, goes in there. Just line it up to the right place. Well, easier said than done. Line it up to the right place and it'll kind of slip in there. There we go. Slips in there and then you just twist and then it's locked. And it's crazy. All I did was set this down nicely and it just completely popped both of those sockets. So that's why I suggest you definitely take it out here and unplug it if you want to. If you don't unplug it and it's unplugged from there, it'll just kind of sit where you take it out. So that's always an option too. And then you don't, I guess since we're here, we can take the fenders off. I can show you where it's kind of tucked in. Not on this one though, because that one's broken. We can look at this fender and I'll show you what I mean by it's woven in there. So get the bolts out. And if yours is still factory fresh, you probably don't have this bolt here. It's probably just a bolt, a Torx bolt like that. But mine, I'm guessing got lost at some point. One of the past owners. So that hole, and then this bolt that's missing. Oh, there it is. This bolt comes out, and then this bolt comes out. And that's all that's holding the fender in, but you can kind of see here, see how it's on the outside. The fender flares on the outside, but the fender's on the inside, so it's kind of just woven in there. That's why what I mean by it's woven in there. To be able to take that, you have to be able to put that in and this out at the same time. You could just take these out, take that whole fender flare off, and then you wouldn't necessarily have to weave it, I guess, but that's the reason why I like to take the bed and this fenders off separately and not just pull it off together. But now you know how to do both, so you can do it however you want. All right, so if you need a little more access to the engine and transmission, you'll want to take this brace off here. And it looks kind of intimidating, looks kind of difficult, but it's actually really not. You just got 7 bolts to get it off. And I've already got mine loose. Start with these two here, right? Sorry, it's really dark in this garage, so I'm trying to do some good lighting, but not that easy. So yeah, start with these 2 bolts here. Get those off, and you go to these bolts here. Let's see if I get a better angle there. So these 2 loose bolts here, and then to the other side, these 2 loose bolts here, and then it will actually, you don't have to take this brace off here, but it does make it a lot easier. I mean, if you really want to fight it, you can, but if you take this bolt out, it gives you a lot easier access to pull this out. So let's go ahead and take that one out, and you can see, that bracket goes all the way across and attaches to one of these bolts, so it just makes it a lot easier. And those are just 1/2-inch bolts, so if you have 2 1/2-inch wrenches or a ratchet wrench, that's what I used, was these guys here. I used a ratchet wrench and a regular wrench. Ooh. Oh, sorry, I will need 2 hands for those, so give me just a second. I'll pull these ones out. Even though they're already loose, it still requires 2 hands. Yeah, these ones for some reason they're on a little bit of a bind, so it's easier to turn them out. That one. Okay, hold on. Okay, and then I took the nut off, and those two. And then this part is really easy. If you loosen this bracket, if you don't loosen that bracket, you'll have to fight it a little bit. But this comes right up. And then kind of a bonus thing, depending on how long you're going to be at this, these hoses go into some holes in the bottom of this that I'll show you. Or in fact, I can show you right now. They kind of go into those holes, I guess, just to kind of let them get air, but without being directly in the dust. And then the coil pack is attached to it as well here. So depending on what you're doing, if you're gonna have this off for a while or something, you might want to take that coil pack off, or you might be able to just kind of leave it on there and kind of roll it out of the way here. Okay, with two hands you can do it, but everything's harder with one hand, I swear. But yeah, there you go. Now you have a lot of access to the top of this engine.